You can't mention history and rock in the same sentence without immediately thinking of this next legendary act, Iron Maiden. Now these guys really set the standards when it comes to history storytelling and playing loud guitars. With Iron Maiden, you're pretty much spoilt for choice with their numerous musical iterations of historical accounts and literature. But I've selected an absolute classic. Yeah, it's not only a classic song from a classic album, from the 1986 Somewhere in Time album, but it's actually about classic history. Yeah, for all those Maiden fans out there, you probably already know, Alexander the Great. Written by bassist Steve Harris, I think you can safely assume that Steve probably delves into the history books for inspiration quite a lot. So let's give it a shot.
My son, ask for thyself another kingdom, for that which I leave is too small for thee.
Okay. Okay. So the song hasn't started yet, but yeah, there's this nice kind of cinematic intro, isn't there? Where is the text? There it is. My son, ask for thyself another kingdom, for that which I leave is too small for thee. Yeah. Well, it's actually a famous quote that's attributed to King Philip of Macedon, who was Alexander's father. And apparently when Alexander was 18, apparently Philip was very impressed when he went into battle. And he showed so much character, showed so much strength, and he was brave and whatnot. And it impressed Philip so much, he thought the kingdom of Macedon wouldn't be enough for his boy. Hence the "for that which I leave is too small for thee" part. And of course, it's safe to assume that Philip didn't really have that articulate English twang. But it's all part of the drama, isn't it? And it works very well. So let's get back with the music when it starts. It's got that kind of military drum beat, right? Slow march, marching to battle. We're being set up here now, aren't we? There's a momentum building here. Now they mean business. Okay, because there's a lot going on there, really, isn't there? All right, just going back to the text. Near to the east in a part of ancient Greece. Yeah, that's true. Macedonia was in northern ancient Greece. Actually, Greece was made up of different states at the time. And Philip, when he was still alive, he did form what was called the League of Corinth, which was basically all the different states came together to give them enough clout to invade Persia, which obviously we will be hearing all about. And it says here, in an ancient land, Macedonia, was born a son to Philip of Macedon, yes. The legend, his name was Alexander, yes. Yeah, and also regarding Philip, he didn't just die. Apparently he was murdered, assassinated by his gay lover. Okay. At the age of 19, he became the Macedon king. Actually, everything I've looked at with Alexander, it says that he was actually 20, not 19. So, I don't know, perhaps Steve Harris thought that 19 in the flow of the lyrics sounded better than 20 when Bruce Dickinson was singing it. I don't know. Not that it really matters, because, hey, it's a great song, but still. And I just love this. I don't know why, this lyric is great. By the age in C in 334 BC. It's brilliant. I mean, it's historically accurate, but they put it in this, cool song. To invade Persia. That's right, yeah. Okay, let's get back to it with Alexander and his boys. Okay. Oh. Yeah, there's some info here. King Darius III defeated, fled Persia. The Scythians fell by the river of Jakartes, I think he said. I'm not quite sure if that's the correct pronunciation. I mean, Middle Eastern or Mesopotamian or... Then Egypt fell to the Macedon king as well, and he founded the city called Alexandria. Well, that's all true, because King Darius did make a sharp exit from Persia. And, yeah, the Scythians fell by the river of Jakartas. It's actually in modern-day Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. And yeah, then Alexander, back in 329, went to Egypt. And as all great leaders do, when they think they're more than mortal and almost godlike, he built a city and called it after himself. So that's true. He founded the city called Alexandria. Then it goes on by the Tigris River, which I suppose is kind of modern-day Iraq? Tigris? He met King Darius again and crushed him again in the Battle of Arbela, entering Babylon and Susa, which is, Babylon. Treasures he found. Took Persepolis, the capital of Persia. And again, yeah, that's all correct. Persia did fall. And, apparently there were all these treasures in Susa, which was in Babylon. And yeah, he had a good time there by all accounts. And what's interesting is that we're talking about him building a city and naming it after himself. This is where Alexander is starting to think he's above mortal man, right? He's starting to think I'm a god. This is he became a legend amongst mortal men, but I think he genuinely thought he was, half god or whatever, I'm sure. Anyway, let's get back to it. That's epic, isn't it? It's cinematic. This belongs on a movie soundtrack. You can imagine it, can't you? You can almost anticipate the action and the drama in a movie. And the twin guitars, of course. Solo switch there. A little bit of a Middle Eastern solo there. Okay, straight back into it. Okay, the Phrygian king had bound a chariot yoke, and Alexander cut the Gordian knot. And legend said that who untied the knot, he would become the master of Asia. Oh, that's prophetic, isn't it? Hellenism he spread far and wide. The Macedonian learned mind. Their culture was a Western way of life. He paved the way for Christianity. Marching on, marching on. Yeah. Well, this is up to this point. Actually, it's all chronologically correct up until the Gordian knot, because apparently Alexander did cut it, and the prophecy would become the ruler of Asia. That's right. But apparently this all happened before the fall of Egypt. So I don't know why it was written this way round, but then again, I suppose Steve Harris is entitled to a little bit of artistic license, and it works well, and I guess nobody really noticed anyway. But according to what I've found, the Gordian knot happened before Egypt, but hey, who cares? And the interesting thing here, Hellenism, he spread far and wide. The Macedonian lured mind. Their culture was a Western way of life. It's basically the influence of his empire and what he did, and the legacy that he left behind. He paved the way for Christianity. And it's true, despite Christianity actually not even existing at that moment, Christians would gradually be communicating with each other, not just in Hebrew, but also in Greek. And the road structures and the infrastructure that Alexander developed helped these early Christians to spread, and helped spread the religion as well. Yeah, that's all true. Marching on. They're keeping going for it, aren't they? Okay, let's get back to it. Okay. The battle-weary marching side by side, Alexander's army line by line. They wouldn't follow him to India, tired of the combat, pain and the glory. They did get to India through the Khyber Pass in the north. They didn't get very far, but they did actually get there. I think they were so exhausted from, campaign after campaign, I mean, they were constantly fighting, let's be honest. And the men just revolted. But Alexander listened to his men and said, okay, let's stop pushing forward. Let's head back west. And that's basically what they did. And Alexander the Great, his name struck fear into hearts of men. Alexander the Great, he died of fever in Babylon. He got back to Babylon. And he died of a fever, and by all accounts, he was ill for 11 days. And some people suggest he was poisoned. I suppose as any leader, especially in that particular time, there's always going to be somebody who's going to come up behind you and try and take your power and influence. But others think that he'd probably got, something like malaria or typhoid or something like that. And so he died in his early 30s. I mean, I said in this that it has that cinematic thing, right? In places. I reckon Steve Harris could easily transfer his songwriting ability and write music for musical scores and that kind of thing, because it has that epic. The way they've tackled something with so much historic accuracy. The only thing was the fact that Alexander was 20 and not 19, and the Gordian knot actually happened before he got to Egypt. But who cares? It's a great song, so it's good.